The automotive industry is passing through a very interesting, at the same time, very challenging phase. A lot of technology disruptions are taking place, and to help navigate the industry players is this suite of digital technologies and simulation technologies. So how are they helping industry stakeholders to chart out new growth paths? To discuss more about it, we have with us Mike Yeager, Area VP India and Japan at Ansys. So Mike, thanks for spending your time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Always good to have a conversation with a global industry leader. So to start off with, Mike, tell us what are the key, maybe 3-4 major technology trends that you would pick, which are really redefining the landscape of automotive and mobility globally and specifically in India?
Very good. So thank you for the introduction and for that question. It's a good one, and it's a very exciting time to be involved with the automotive industry globally, but also in particular here in India. I think the biggest trend that we're all watching before our eyes is the massive shift to electric vehicles. I think in 2023, approximately 16% of the passenger vehicles were an electric vehicle of some form or fashion, either fully electric or in many cases some flavor of a hybrid electric vehicle. And that electrification trend, along with some other, let's call it adjacent trends in terms of the infotainment system complexity, the ADAS and the autonomy, are other trends that are driving what really is a incredible leap in complexity for our customers and putting a lot of pressure on their traditional design and development operations. So, for example, you can have up to several hundred ECUs in a vehicle today. There can be hundreds of millions of lines of code in a vehicle. Certainly, the cabling harness can now be several kilometers long, and you'll have a whole bunch of sensors that all have to work together. So the point of all that is that it's putting all this pressure on our customers and how they've traditionally done vehicle design and development. And so it's really forcing this adoption of digital engineering and some of the techniques that will help deal with this onslaught in complexity. So some of those digital engineering techniques are things like virtual validation, digital twin techniques, software-defined vehicles, and also software-led development, as well as, in many cases, just simply moving simulation closer to the beginning of the design cycle. That can all have an impact on customers being able to absorb this massive, almost exponential jump up in complexity that they've seen. So, again, globally, at the global level, those are many of the trends that we're seeing. And I would say, within India, those trends are mirrored for the most part. We see certainly, the push towards electric vehicles. Now, one variation or one customization possibly, I think, for the India market is that usually when we talk about these trends, they're strictly in the context of passenger vehicles. But obviously, India has a very big 2- and 3-wheeler segment, which is somewhat unique to India for a large automotive market like India is. So, those customers are very, they have very high expectations for the value part of the equation on those vehicles. And to design and develop a safe, reliable, so high performance electric 2- or 3-wheeler, it's very challenging. So when you take the customer expectations and those challenges, you're also seeing the push of these digital engineering techniques, into that 2- and 3-wheeler segment. So I would say overall, we see the trends in India are very much mirroring what we see globally. There are some localizations there, and one segment may adopt certain elements of digital engineering technology more so than others, and one region may move at a faster pace than others. But overall, it's a global automotive market. India is a big part of it, and so we're really seeing that India in many cases is mirroring and taking a leadership role with some of these technologies and their adoption for the automotive market.
That's what I wanted to pick up on more is You said that India is mirroring the global trends, and in some aspects you said that India perhaps could take a leadership role.
Yeah.
Could you just elaborate a little bit more on that? Which are the areas you think maybe India has a better chance?
Yeah, we've seen some really in the India market. We have seen some really advanced workflows and thinking and development within the engineering organizations, in particular around some of the ADAS and the autonomy. And keep in mind that many of the engineering teams in India that are involved in the design development of vehicles, of course, most of it is for the India market and also to export, products from India to the rest of the world. But you also have some global companies that, have really staked their future, if you will, on their engineering teams in India that are involved in really some of the most vehicles that are built and designed anywhere on the planet. So those are some of the areas where I think we're seeing, some pretty advanced innovation and adoption, from the teams in India.
Mike, as much as the automotive mobility landscape is getting more and more exciting and interesting, it's also getting more and more complex.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and especially when it comes to adopting these new generation technologies. So, what are the key challenges and complexities that you see that maybe the industry stakeholders are struggling with, and where maybe a simulation technology provider, global major like Ansys could?
No, that's another really good question. I think that the question kind of sort of sets up the biggest challenge, which is change itself, right? So change is hard, and change brings a lot of challenges and complexities to it whenever it's introduced. And we seem to be in sort of a constant state of change now. There is no beginning and end. There is no, we're gonna do this update and then we're good, right? Those days are over. So I think just that constant churn in itself is a challenge. But then, when we look, specifically within India, I think one of the challenges that we see and our customers are feeling, and they talk to us a lot about, it's really, kind of a, sort of the skills, readiness, if you will, of the workforce. And by that, I mean a lot of these more advanced challenges and problems that we're trying to address with digital engineering techniques, they require really a multidisciplinary approach, from the engineers and the engineering team. And in the past, a lot of these things were handled, in silos. And things would be passed back and forth, and you really can't operate that way anymore. So I think the engineering schools in India, they're world renowned, and they do a great job of delivering a high volume of very qualified engineers into the workforce. But when it gets to, again, many of these very advanced workflows, sort of multidisciplinary, multiphysics type of problems that people are trying to solve, those skills are really all pretty much picked up on the job. So there's always this tension, I think, between, what's needed by the employers and sort of the workforce readiness to step right into that. So you have to be patient. It takes time. I think also the changing standards and regulations that are ongoing in India and other markets, certainly trying to stay up with the customer taste. That's a rapidly changing thing, I think, again, especially here in India as the economy changes. And, and people are, looking for maybe a little bit more in terms of the feature set than possibly they were in the past. Obviously, the conditions that you have to be able to perform under in the India market, from the environment and the road conditions, it's a very wide range. That puts some extra stress on it. So, those are all challenges that we see. And again, I think we see the companies in India adapting very well to that and meeting those challenges. But they're big hills to climb for the engineering teams in these companies.
Big hills to climb indeed for the OEMs, and therefore bigger responsibilities for technology providers like you, right?
Sure.
So, while OEMs are keeping in tune with the times of the consumer demands and changing tastes. So, in your case, how is, let's say, a major like Ansys developing new solutions, or kind of realigning itself to be, there in the forefront when it comes to offering?
Yeah. I think whenever we start talking about capabilities and how we engage with our customers and work with them to solve some of these issues and to develop the solutions that need to be implemented, it really, from my standpoint, it starts with the team that we have here in India. Ansys has over 800 employees in India across product development, application engineering, customer support, product engineering, account management, you name it, marketing, and many other functions. There's also several hundred resources in India as part of our channel partner network, which is an outstanding channel partner network that is also, sort of at the disposal or available to engage with our customers on Ansys technology and solutions. So I always start with the team. It's a very deep team with a tremendous sort of reservoir of knowledge, and that really can only be built from the decades that we've been here in India working with the automotive market as well as some others. But a big part of the Ansys focus has been the automotive market here in India. So in addition to the people, the team, which is core to any success that we can help our customers have, we are putting forth some powerful, sort of automotive specific solutions that, as our customers are moving maybe away from some of the physical prototyping and looking to replace some of that with simulation and simulation workflows, they are looking to us to provide applications across sensors and sensor simulation, electric motor design, electronics reliability, have a lot of high performance EV components, batteries, power management that has to be designed. And so those are the areas where we're, with our team and with our customer requirements, trying to fill those workflows and those gaps with, with some of the new technology. Another area that has come up more recently, and I think it probably wasn't as, top of mind in the past as it is now, is to have an intelligent material selection platform. That's very important from a sustainability standpoint. I mean, you not only want to know obviously what the properties of the material are so you can run an accurate simulation, but you want to know, when this vehicle is, someday disposed of, what's going to happen then? Is it all recyclable? Yeah, is it all recyclable and all those properties? And we have a really good material intelligence platform that allows you to select, substitute, optimize materials, and that's really starting to come into its own too. So, we have some examples of companies like ZF that have designed an electric motor with one of our tool chains that's 95% efficiency. Also, NASCAR has used our virtual crash simulation to save $1 million on their next generation sort of car prototype. Continental uses, I've mentioned sensors. Continental uses our AVX Accelerate platform to do simulation, testing, and validation for a camera sensor. And right here in India, and there's many examples in India, but I'll just mention one, Ashok Leyland down in Chennai. They have a very innovative modular sort of design and delivery platform for their vehicles. And simulation is absolutely at the core of that for them to be able to make sure that as they put all these modules together, that it's going to work and meet the customer demand. So those are a few examples, and we're really leaning into all those areas with our team first, because they're really the key to delivering these solutions shoulder to shoulder with our customers. But also, you've got to have the underlying technology to go tackle some of these tough challenges.
Modularity of platforms is becoming increasingly more important as product life cycles shrink, and therefore, the modularity also allows, presents itself as a better return on investment. Right?
Absolutely.
So that's interesting. And when you talked about 800 odd people in India for Ansys, would it be one of your major bases globally? And
from an Ansys employee standpoint, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure with the headquarters in North America, we would have more employees there. I think in APAC, this is definitely in the Asia region. This is definitely the biggest concentration of Ansys employees throughout Asia is right here in India.
And another part I wanted to ask is, in this increasingly technology-intensive and disruptive era, collaboration is becoming almost the name of the game, right?
Yeah.
It's hardly an option anymore.
Right.
The collaboration as a practice is not new to the automotive industry, but now I think the reasons for collaboration is much more stronger, and the scope of collaboration is much wider.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I pick up on the topic of industry-academic collaboration, for example, yes, there is fantastic talent on the academia side in India. and there's a strong need for innovative solutions from the industry side, perhaps, but I think the collaboration is not happening to the level it should in India to kind of tap the best of both worlds. What is your take on the strategy or the approach of industry academic collaboration, and towards that, your organization, how are you working?
So I think there's always room for improvement. This is definitely an area that I think, for Ansys in particular, is really in the DNA to really rely on an ecosystem. Ansys as a simulation-centric company, right? We're focused on simulation. I mean, by definition, we need other parts of the ecosystem to kind of help fill in some of the things that we don't do, because we don't do everything. We're really focused on the simulation piece. But Ansys is very committed on the ecosystem part, and so much so that we have, I believe right now there's over 6 centers of excellence that we've established with different organizations throughout India. Just a couple that I'll mention, and I won't be able to mention all of them, but like with the Automotive Research Association, which is based right here in Pune, we have a center of excellence program with them that's around the EVs and some of these trends we're talking about with respect to ADAS. With Spark Mindra,
Spark Mindra, yes.
That collaboration, if I'm not mistaken, has been in place for over 5 years, and it's really focused more on sort of the safety, security, and the connectivity, of some of these solutions. And then more recently with TCS, just a year ago, we entered into another, center of excellence collaboration that's going to be around the digital engineering and some of these very topics that we're talking about today. So, I think those are good. I think that with the advanced research associations, we work, with them to develop automotive-specific curricula. And then when you get into the universities, we've got a large part of our organization and a lot of our channel partners that's all they do is focus on that university collaboration, and trying to ensure that we get the graduating engineers are ready for the challenges of tomorrow.
The challenges of tomorrow would also be, much of that would also be, if not most of them, would also be tackled with the help of AI.
Of course.
So digital engineering and AI, these are increasingly making new penetration into the industry. So when I talk about these two areas, how is Ansys tapping them to develop new solutions for your customers, or maybe for the development of new age mobility solutions?
Right.
And from your customers' perspective also, how do you see they deploying them?
We've touched on AI a little bit in DI and digital engineering kind of in passing, but I'm glad we'll spend a little bit more time on it because it's very important. Ansys is very committed to leveraging the power of AI, digital engineering throughout our simulation platform. We have recently announced 3 different capabilities, if you will, related to AI. So one of them is Ansys GPT, which is basically a place where engineers can go ask questions, and it's curated with some very high quality Ansys information behind it as sort of the data model that's there. And these can be very simple questions or very complex questions. And right now we rolled it out to a portion of our customers. I expect we'll roll it out more broadly as time goes along throughout this year. We also have our Ansys AI Plus technology, which is really a set of capabilities that have been in the marketplace for a while, and we're just building on it. Many of our tools and technologies are optimization technologies, even the material intelligence system I was mentioning earlier. They have some AI ML capabilities, based on parameterization type techniques already built in. And then, finally, also we have most recently announced SimAI. And SimAI is, really kind of that next level of artificial intelligence where you can take problems that, would have been hours or days and get quick answers in a matter of minutes that'll help inform you on, kind of the next step to take in your design and development journey. So we also have a deep partnership now with NVIDIA that I think just underscores this commitment. And, that collaboration is focused on optimizing the workflows. And we think that with the power of NVIDIA and, kind of what they're doing for AI with their ecosystem and hardware, that the scale and efficiency of simulation is going to go to all new heights with that type of partnership. So very important area for Ansys. We're all over it, so to speak, and stay tuned because I think there's a lot more exciting things to come. I mean, I think we all believe that the way that automotive companies or companies in any industry conceive, design, develop, manufacture, and ultimately service their products, it's going to be massively impacted by AI in the coming years, and it's going to be quite a ride to watch unfold.
There's also a viewpoint which I would also agree to a great extent is considering that the legacy of the automotive stroke mobility industry in this part of the world, in Asia, specifically India, compared to the more mature markets with a much longer history of like North America and Europe, it seems that the adoption rate or the appetite or the ability to adopt these technologies is relatively easier, or therefore the adoption rate is faster in these markets. Is that something that you're witnessing?
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. I think putting the data together, it's more anecdotal, possibly at this point than something that we can say definitively. But I really think that a big factor there is sometimes it's an advantage to not have a lot of legacy. To kind of start with a clean sheet of paper. I think you can more easily adopt some of the new ideas and new techniques and technologies if you don't have several decades of, this is how we've done it and how we've always done it. So I think there is some advantage to, kind of being that, that second mover and having a chance to learn from, maybe some companies that have gone before.
Now, since we are having this conversation in one of your visits to India, I would have to ask you, what are the top priorities for the Ansys, for your team in India for the automotive sector?
Yeah, well, we're going to stay heavily involved with the automotive sector in India. It's a priority for us. A lot of our effort and energy is devoted, and that's not going to change. From a priority standpoint, I think we have really four main things that we're looking at as our top priorities to continue to deliver value and to ensure that the automotive industry gets the most out of the investment they make in simulation technology. And number one would be with our existing customers, we want to help them fully realize the potential of the investment that they're making in simulation by helping them adopt some of these new digital engineering workflows and new AI methods and technologies, because ultimately that's what's going to help them be more competitive, not just in India, but on a global scale, as some of these India-based companies look to export more and participate more globally in the automotive market. We also are looking closely at capacity building, and by that I mean aligning with the government, on the skills development and just ensuring that we are helping to prepare the workforce with the skills and capabilities to handle and tackle these challenges, because you can have all the best ideas and best technology, in the world, but if you don't have the people to go execute it, then it's not going to go anywhere. The academic part that we've talked about will continue to be a big focus for us. We sponsor competitions, we help with curriculum, we provide technology, resources, and that will continue to be a major priority for us, as it has been in the past. And then also the startup piece, which we've barely touched on, but it really is the future. When you think about it, today's startups are going to be the Tatas and the Mahindras and Ashok Leylands of the future. And so we've got to be there to support them. We've got resources, we've got to have business models that help them access the technology. And then because, we know this ecosystem really well, we have to sort of show them around and help them, make some connections and figure out sort of their place in that ecosystem going forward. So I think with all of that, we'll be a really strong partner for the India automotive market. We're trying to drive innovation here to advance, the human advancement. And again, I think that we believe that we can help the India automotive market develop safe, reliable, sustainable, interesting, comfortable, exciting, amazing mobility for the Indian consumer, and that's what we want to do.
That's a lot that you want to offer for the automotive industry. But talking about automotive industry, how big is it as a vertical for Ansys?
For Ansys overall as a company, it's one of our largest. There's with Ansys's organization, we have many verticals. We have a federal aerospace and defense vertical. We have the automotive vertical. There's a high-tech semi vertical because, of course, we have semiconductor tools as well as some of our electronics technology. We have a industrial and energy vertical. We have a new, starting vertical in healthcare. And suffice to say, automotive is right up there as one of our largest ones as a company.
And from what I analyze and when I look around, there are examples of, as you also touched upon, many large global tier ones and OEMs have engineering centers in India, which are playing very critical role in terms of not only developing solutions for India, but for the global market. Some of them very innovative, which have been perhaps initially developed for India, but then picked up for global application because of their novelty value or the innovative nature.
Absolutely, yeah.
Something like that. Is there any similar anecdote from the Ansys world also, where you have something?
In terms of our development?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think the R&D team here in India is an example of that. So from my understanding, and this predates my time with Ansys, it started off as a R&D organization for our CFD technology, Fluent, before Ansys acquired them.
Right.
And as Ansys acquired them and the requirements for that technology grew and grew, I think the team here in India has grown to, really be a main team for that technology, as well as some other teams, have added on. We've got a large semiconductor team here in India. Obviously, there's a huge semiconductor customer base here in India. So yeah, I think, not just the sort of the hardware R&D design centers have sort of popped up here in India, but you also see the software companies are taking advantage of the resource pool and the talent and just the positive conditions here in India. So I think it's good.
Right. Mike, before we end this very interesting conversation, I believe you took over your current role at the beginning of this year.
Yes.
But you're not new to India. In your previous roles also in Ansys. Tell me, what are the things that really stand on top of mind for you when it comes to India? And is there something that you look forward to every time you come here?
Yeah, it's the people. I love the people. The food is obviously amazing. Okay, that goes without saying. But
you can take up the spice.
Yeah, I can handle it. So far, I'm sure there's a level that I've been shielded, from at this point. Maybe I'll earn, the right to, kind of go into that circle, that circle of trust someday. But no, I love coming here and just being with the people. This is, I've had a chance to be in many markets over my career. I've been very fortunate, worked with a lot of great teams. Just the energy, the commitment, the diligence. It's just great to be around. So that as well as the food and just the sights and sounds, it's an exciting place to spend time. So I really enjoy it.
There, Mike, thanks for this very interesting conversation.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure
was
to
mine. Thank you. Thank you very much.
There you heard Mike Yeager, Area VP, India and Japan, Ansys, having this very interesting conversation around digital technologies, AI-led simulation technologies, and how the overall automotive industry and mobility industry is progressing, and with some help from digital technologies, simulation technologies. So keep tuned to ET Auto for all the latest developments in the automotive industry, not to mention specifically on digital technologies. On that note, thank you for watching this very interesting interview. Till we meet again, take care and goodbye.